video interview, we're having a look at the point of stopping thoughts. So there's a tendency to still exist within the perception that in terms of stopping participation in thoughts means to stop the thoughts within and as the starting point of separation, but it is not yet understood or realized or seen that the application has actually been approached from and within the starting point of separation. So what happens is one then attempt to stop thoughts, understand in terms of the manifested nature of thoughts within the conscious mind is the preoccupation of self within the conscious mind. So one of their main functions is as an automated system that continue non-stop 24/7 throughout one's entire existence or lifetime, because the origin of the thoughts within the conscious mind is from within one's physical mind as the total platform base network design of the total mind consciousness system. So all the systems that self has programmed, created, and designed throughout one's entire lifetime since childhood as the platforms and bases for one's total personality constructs and systems are all conglomerated within and as the human physical body. So thus, in terms of what is then experienced as thoughts is the resonant imprint manifestations of and as all those physical mind systems as constructs that form or manifest the total personality that self exists as within and as the mind consciousness system. So in terms of attempting to or trying to stop the thoughts within this context, one can thus clearly see it is not possible, because the point that requires the stopping is self existing and living within and as the physical mind, as all those personalities that consist of and exist as programs and constructs and patterns. So understand what is meant by stopping thoughts is stopping, accepting and allowing the thoughts to influence or preoccupy or control who self is within and as a moment of participation within and as one's world and one's reality. So initially, in terms of especially in the beginning stages of one's process, as one starts to become more aware of one's mind and the participation and the extent and extremity of one's thoughts and reactions, stopping participation is in a moment making a decision to not accept and allow yourself to continue following or wandering off within and as the conscious mind through and down the rabbit hole, so to speak. So it's like when you're participating in your world and your reality and you see thoughts start emerging within a moment. Mostly in the beginning it will feel like your thoughts are on overdrive as they speed through your mind with quite an intensity. It's like you often catch yourself completely off guard where the thoughts are just suddenly automatically racing through your mind. So what this means is that in terms of your living here in and as and with physical as breath, you haven't yet slowed yourself down enough to be able to stop yourself from accepting and allowing yourself to continue participating within and as the thoughts as they come up or emerge within and as your conscious mind. And that's why you'll, for example, have a tendency to thus have the thoughts race or speed through your conscious mind, because it is in fact you in that moment going into a dimension within the conscious mind and giving the conscious mind the required generated power or energy to feed that particular specific line of thought. And within self not yet being specific within and as walking here with and as the physical as breath, one tend to still be very easily captivated and caught up and preoccupied within the multi-dimensions of the conscious mind as the various accepted and allowed manifested thought patterns within and as which we automatically participate. So within one's constant, continuous, practical application of breathing, of being here, of practicing the point of actually functioning and living within reality, the point of the racing, speeding thoughts or moments of catching yourself in your mind thinking will start decreasing, and it will become a lot easier and simpler for you to be able to simply stop yourself from participating in thoughts, and also be easier and simpler to stop yourself when the thoughts start racing as well. So you'll thus be able to literally take yourself out of that conscious mind dimension wherein you've gone into and given the conscious mind the required energy and power to be able to access that thought pattern of speedy, racy thoughts, and move yourself to be here with breath and simply stop immediately in that moment. And then also you'll find yourself less and less catching yourself wandering off within the thoughts of and as your mind. And understand with this, your application has got to be constant and consistent in this point of stopping self from accepting and allowing self to participate within as a conscious mind. This is basically the phase where you're assisting and supporting yourself to stop the preoccupation system of the mind consciousness system. One of the main divisions of the mind consciousness system that separate you from the rest of yourself, of and as the total mind consciousness system that's here within and as the physical. So walking through the conscious mind is your basic key to the door of the total room of yourself in how you have organized and categorized and placed and programmed and built the totality of you of and as the mind consciousness system. So it's basically your starting point process of walking into and seeing the reality of yourself as the mind. And therefore, in terms of walking through the conscious mind, it is one of your most important steps within your process, because within walking through the conscious mind, in applying the point of stopping participation in the thoughts and the reactions and being here as breath, applying yourself to become more physically aware of your experience here in reality and actually participating in and as reality. This is your baseline, your basics, in which you are assisting and supporting yourself to become diligent, effective, and absolute, because the rest of your mind consciousness system exists basically of the exact same components or parts as thought manifestations, memories, reactions, pictures, images, but obviously in a lot more intensity, variety, specificity, wherein you'll then be walking through more like networks or actual entity symbols or habitual patterns in manifested physical automated behaviors. But the basic components that manifest all these total systems of personalities are the same. So if you specify yourself within your walking and stopping participation in the thoughts and the reactions, the rest of your process through and as the mind consciousness system will be a lot simpler. It's not going to become easier. It is and will and does become more difficult. However, if you are already relatively stable within your standing and your stopping and your being here with breath in the physical, I mean, in terms of taking on those levels of difficulty as you're walking through the rest of your mind consciousness system, from that perspective, it will become easier and simpler to walk through your mind consciousness system. So take this point with regards to facing the conscious mind as your preparation, training ground for facing the rest of you as your total mind consciousness system. And push yourself within the discipline of self-stability here as breath. As the thoughts come up, also take into consideration the tendency to fear or go into fear of and as one's own mind as thoughts and reactions, wherein our starting point with an application is like fear. For example, when the thoughts come, you're like, oh my god, the thoughts are coming, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna stop, and you like kind of talk yourself and think yourself through your mind into the state of attempting to and trying to stop, but while at the same time actually feeding the same thoughts you're attempting to or trying to stop. So be careful of that tendency of attempting to or trying to stop your mind within your mind. It's simply to naturally become and be the point of stopping participation in the thoughts, and knowing that this point of stopping participation in the thoughts and the reactions is you assisting and supporting yourself in preparing you to be stable here in your physical with breath, so that you are prepared and ready to face the rest of you as your total mind consciousness system, as the subconscious and unconscious mind, which is vast, extreme, and extensive. So from that perspective as well, understand the mind consciousness system is not the enemy. It is actually here assisting and supporting you in terms of pushing you within the and with the required challenges for you to self-realize within and as the physical, within, for example, this point of the thoughts within the conscious mind. See it as a preparation, training ground in specifying one's stability within and as the physical to be able to stand absolute within facing the subconscious and unconscious mind. And therefore, that point also remove the tendency to go into self-judgment when you see or catch yourself in the mind, or when you see that you've allowed yourself to wander off within thoughts, or even participate in thoughts, or allowed yourself to walk into the mind race speeding dimension where the thoughts just went rampant. And simply take it as a feedback for yourself in terms of realizing, okay, I'm still catching myself too much in my mind. I must specify my breathing, my physical reality participation. Or if you see you still have a tendency to think too much about things, you find yourself a practical way in terms of, okay, just as to support myself within this point, I push myself within my writing. Or when you catch yourself within wandering off and daydreaming, it simply means that there's moments that you're missing where you are perceiving or believing the mind to be more entertaining than reality, in that feeding an energy addiction. So got to be here and assist and support yourself to become more practical within your reality, participate within more practical, functional things within what is real here, to be able to expand and specify and stabilize you in actual physical reality. So in terms of participation in thoughts of the conscious mind, is to understand that you're stopping yourself from participating. It's not stopping thoughts from a point of separation, because in terms of just even within the sentence, stopping thoughts, not understanding or realizing that thoughts is resonant manifestations of parts of and as ourselves that's emerging within and as our conscious mind. Okay, so this a practical perspective within the context of the point of stopping participation in and as thoughts, as the starting point application of assisting and supporting self to apply and be here in and as the physical, in preparation for self's walk within and through the rest of one's mind consciousness system. Thank you.